Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bridging Impact Podcast, the podcast that is passing wisdom to the next generation of athletes, coaches, and parents to transform leaders on and off the court. And in this edition of Coach's Corner, our Friday edition of the podcast, I'm going to talk about persistence. And so with the Friday edition of the podcast, I'm just sharing some of the wins that are going on in my week, what I'm getting questioned by athletes, parents, and coaches. And I really want to share some great wins that I've had. And I know that the last couple of episodes have been quite personal. And I think that's part of what makes this podcast great, is sharing those personal wins, losses, stories, and trying to keep it real. And because persistence is one of the reasons that I am still here and talking into this microphone today. I could have quit quite a long time ago when it comes to creating, when it comes to coaching basketball, when it comes to pursuing my dreams as someone who is creating their own business, their own organization, their own content on the internet to do that for a living. There have been so many thoughts in my mind through that time of, should I give this up? Should I just go and pursue something that is, seems more safe? Not necessarily that it is more safe, like becoming just and I don't want to diminish what a PE teacher is or a teacher, because they're vitally important to society, but that's not something that's calling me. But, in my head, that is safer. It's a paycheck. It's going to be consistent. I got work every single day, because as an entrepreneur, getting into it as an entrepreneur and a creator, the schedule can be different. And sometimes I'm putting in work for months at a time, and I don't even know if it's, paying off until I have moments like these during the week when I get certain opportunities that present themselves, like an organization here in Los Angeles, one of the, and I'll share just about connections and being persistent about connections. I've had someone, actually, Colin, who's came on the podcast. You should definitely go listen to his episode about, talking about how basketball is, a global game, and how he's got the opportunity to coach and play the game in different countries. That's a few episodes ago, Colin E. Donovan. So I met him at cross court, just playing basketball, having that opportunity to run up and down. He works there. He came to me with the idea of wanting to start, running certain events. And I'm not going to give out too many details yet because they're not finalized. But essentially, that partnership kind of forged, and we've been talking consistently for the last few weeks. And he made a connection with someone who is, very big in the Los Angeles area, actually in just a global game of basketball. And so now we have that connection, is that persistence. And the reason he said that he wanted to reach out to me is because he knew I had the infrastructure and the kids and the heart and the passion to be able to make some of these events happen. And just like that, right? Now we're in the game. Now, Bridging Impact Basketball is going to be on the map, hopefully this summer, and be able to start consistently serving youth in the Los Angeles area as we continue to expand our services. Right now, I'm in kind of private and group training, but I am a camp guy at heart. I'm working spring break camp for Santa Monica Basketball Academy this week, and it is a ton of fun. But I've always known that I want to be able to, whether it's with a partner like Colin or myself, just run a basketball camp and create that experience, because I know what it takes. Summer camps were my favorite thing. Camps were my favorite things. And I just really know how to connect with people, connect with kids, create an impactful experience, but also help them really get better at basketball and have it be fun for all levels, right? You don't want to have it, be 6 through 14. That's too wide of an age range. And that is a podcast for another day. So I was able to, we have great things happening in the basketball world. I got my biggest training session yet so far. I had 8 kids yesterday. I only had 3 basketballs. I'm like, it's time to order some basketballs, but that means we're expanding, we're growing, and things are happening. It's really, really exciting. And on the podcast side of things, I had an organization, again, won't name the organization, reach out about potentially sponsoring the podcast, specifically Coach's Corner on Fridays. And I am jazzed about that because it's a wonderful organization. They do some great work in the sports community. We share similar values about how we view sports, as a development tool for athletes, and then also as leaders, just as people, to become better people, instead of, one of the things, and I'll go on to a little bit of a tangent right now, what bridging impact is and what it's not. And what it is not is one of the biggest things. One of the biggest things I think is just straight up wrong in youth sports is our focus on winning at such a young age. We are not focusing on developing. And I don't care what a lot of these club coaches say, they want to win, right? As a club coach now, we want to win. And when we put our kids in environments where we send them to tournaments, we want them to win. We're not going to send them there to lose, right? So what happens then when we want them to win? We take shortcuts when it comes to their development. We don't teach them how to go to their left. We don't end up teaching that. And I, was trying to spend time teaching them on their left. But you know what? I could be spending time on how to trap, right? We teach them how to play 2-3 zone instead of man-to-man zone principle, or man-to-man defense principles, because it's easier. You can just pack it in, and that's how you win games. Well, guess what? What do you need to know at the next level? You need to know man principles. And so many of these programs, these kids are winning championships, they're winning tournaments because they're playing 2-3 zone. They're doing things. They're just getting the ball, fast break, run, right hand layup, right? Because that's what's comfortable. That's what wins games. Well, guess what? That does not translate at the high school level. And so at Bridging Impact, right, we're not doing that. And I don't have any aspirations right now of turning Bridging Impact into the BS club basketball that is going on. Club basketball has its place for elite kids that are already developed, kids that are ready to compete, that have a right and a left hand, and are able to kind of consistently raise that bar. It's not a bad thing for everyone, but kids who are not – they're not able to, run up and down, who still need to learn the fundamentals. Club basketball is not for them. AAU basketball is not for them, period, point blank. And, I'm honestly, truthfully part of that right now. And so I'm kind of having conflicting values and opinions. And what I really see as an opportunity is for persistence, is to persistently focus on development, on really developing leaders. And I feel like over time, those focusing on developing and impacting young men, young girls, young women, young binary people, is that they will consistently, be getting better when we focus on winning at such a young age, right? That is not a way, or not a recipe for success. So if we want to be persistent in our pursuit for helping our kids become better athletes, then we must focus on their development at a younger age, right? Towards the end of middle school, or in high school, obviously high school is time to compete, and that's a different world. That's, I'm all for club and AAU at that point, right? It's got to be somewhat cutthroat, because that's just how it is in life. You're not going to be holding each other's hands forever. However, as long as we focus on the development at a younger age. And so I say all of this because my journey, right, I started with something called the Better World Challenge. Then it went to Impact. I started coaching basketball at Boys and Girls Club of Emerald Valley, and kids sports, recreation, little small programs, first and second graders, Royal Basketball School, working with 4-year-olds. And I worked myself up to becoming, now I'm a high school coach at Venice High School. Now I have the confidence to coach and train my players, in the off season, instead of not having the confidence, right, that I had before. I was thinking, oh, I'm only a youth coach. Nah, I want to expand. I want to be able to, make those impacts on not only the elementary, the middle, but also the high school kids. And that's just grown. That's come over time. That's taken persistence, right? I have been working with youth now since 2017, right? And we're in 2023, and I'm going to be in the youth sports space for as long as I can see. As long as the youth sports space lets me in it, lets me get the opportunity to serve kids, I'm going to be in it, because I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think that's honestly, if you find something that you're really passionate about, that you want, deeply in your life. Like for me, I really want to be a creator, right? I want to, do podcasts, do YouTube, do, the social media, and I want to coach, right? And you got to pursue it. And, sometimes, right, I've been a substitute teacher. I've done, kind of remote work for Royal Basketball School. And so it's been a journey. It hasn't always been linear. And I've had a lot of support, from my family. And I'm always just going to keep it real. I've had financial support, and I've also just had support of, we want you to go after your dreams. And that has been a huge help and huge reason for my success at such a young age. And I don't know, what your situation is, right? But if you work for 15 minutes every single day on your passion project, right? 15 times 7. I got to do the math real quick. That is 120 minus 50. That's 105 minutes, right? Take 105 minutes times 4 for the month. All right, we're looking at about 420 minutes, and then you times that by 12. All right, I'm not going to be able to do that math right now, but you get the point, right? If you are putting in a little bit of time every single day on your passion projects, you're going to stack over time. And there's going to be failures. There's going to be, overcoming, different doubts and thoughts. But, if you really want something, stay persistent with it, because I've had some huge wins this week and I want to share them, not as a mode of bragging, but as inspiration for you to keep going, that it will happen for you if you stay consistent, right? If you do not quit. The only way, remember, I remind myself this. I have conversations with myself. The only way you lose is if you quit. So remember to shoot for greatness, lead for impact, and share this with a friend. If you got something out of this, if you thought this was inspiring, subscribe to the podcast, go leave it a review. That's how we grow. We are hoping to become a global brand to transform leaders on and off the court. I will be in your eyes and ears next week with both podcasts, the interview episode on Wednesday and Coach's Corner on Friday. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, day, or weekend, whatever it is for y'all. Coach Furtado out.